caught my wife's friends talking about her affair partner in a group chat, so I punted her out.
Goal.
Yeah. That's a field goal. Background. My wife is an avid skier. She tries to ski every chance she gets, which is often multiple times a week. I'm very supportive of this, and it seems like a good way for her to relieve stress and generally makes her happier. By the way, this comes from Skiing Wife Throwaway, and if you want to submit your own stories, go do it at the r/OKStorytime subreddit. She's made multiple close friendships through this hobby, male and female. And some weekends, they take ski trips to resorts out of town. I ski sometimes, but I'm not an enthusiast, and this group wants to tackle a lot of challenging runs that I'm not capable of at my current skill level. Also, in the off-season, they do other activities to maintain their fitness. None of this has ever been a problem until recently. A few months ago, my wife went trail running with a guy, 45 male, named Josh, who was new to the group. I didn't know she was going alone until after she came back. I found that a little unusual since she usually goes with a couple of her girlfriends and maybe one other guy. Also, she had never really done this activity before. The next thing that happened I thought was unusual was when she had the vid and was isolating from me. She wanted to watch a movie on Amazon Prime, and I told her to bring me her laptop so I could take care of the two-factor authentication stuff. When I was using her laptop, she seemed cagey and agitated and was hovering a little too close to me, considering we were supposed to be isolating. At this time, I noticed she was looking at a love horoscope for her sign and Josh in one of her recently closed tabs. That didn't sit right with me, and I was stewing about it. My wife noticed and asked why I was upset, so I confronted her. She told me the horoscope thing was just a curiosity, and that she looks it up for other people as well. I find this hard to believe. She offered me her phone to look through her messages, and I went through them. There were a lot of messages for a chain text that started only a couple of months ago, probably more than we exchanged in the same period. Mostly her sending him memes and friendly back and forth. To me, it seemed excessive, and it looked like she was going out of her way to keep a conversation going with Josh. There was also a provocative exchange that she made that went something like this. Josh, I would do bad things for some lasagna. Wife?
Oh, like what?
Josh, I don't know, like steal it? Wife?
That's not what I was thinking. That's what I get when my mind is in the gutter.
Josh, an emoji that I'm not sure what it is. Josh sent an emoji. To me, this looks like an unsuccessful attempt by her to escalate the conversation, but Josh, to his credit, doesn't bite. When I saw this, I pointed it out, and she took blame for it and said she shouldn't have sent that. I'm shaking and very upset by all of this. My wife claims he's just one of the girls, and she isn't attracted to him because he's short. And he's just a good friend. All of this reminded me of an emotional affair / spicy texting situation that I went through with my wife 10 years ago. We've been married for 20. We got through that, and I was hoping it was behind us. In response to this, I set up 2 boundaries. No more one-on-one events with Josh, and avoid the one-on-one texting. There's not usually a reason to text one-on-one when the same type of content can be shared in a group text. The next week, she said 2 of her girlfriends canceled on an event, and she asked if it was okay if she went alone with Josh. I told her, obviously not, because that was a boundary I set, and she was annoyed with me for saying no. She met with her therapist, and her therapist largely agreed with my point of view. She seemed to be less annoyed with me after that. I have been off and on depressed about all of this, and during that, she would ask me if there was anything she could do. I just asked her to follow the boundaries I've set. Cut to this last week. I asked her to check in on the boundaries I set. She admitted to texting with Josh again, and I asked to see her phone. There was a gap in the texting, but there were 6 or 7 consecutive days again with a lot of texting. Again, it's just benign texting, but it just seems kind of unnecessary. I don't think you need 3 days around Christmas to text Merry Christmas and start a conversation. I don't think you need to tell your single guy friend good night in the evening. She says that she was just giving him a resource for some technical safety gear, and she started doing it again. I'm very upset again, and I tell her she was ignoring a clearly set boundary. I'm not sure how we get past this as a couple. I find it really disrespectful and hurtful that she ignored this boundary, especially when she saw what it was doing to me. I found it very cruel. I talked to her about blocking contact with this person and ending the friendship so that we could move on. Considering that she already violated a clearly set boundary, I felt the need to escalate. She seemed open to that initially, but was indignant about it later on. I've asked her to apologize for ignoring the boundary and disrespecting me and the marriage, promise she won't do it again, and outline some steps to ensure it won't happen again. She seems to think I'm setting up an ultimatum on friendship, but I just want a path forward I can be comfortable with. She says she wasn't doing this to be cruel. She doesn't seem at all sorry to me. She says she has a deep connection with Josh, but again, they're just friends. The deep connection with Josh is so fishy to me.
Yeah.
I want some lasagna bad. Oh, what would you do for it? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. Steal, maybe?
Sorry, my mind's just in the gutter, I guess.
And like, if it was, like, he asked it as a question, like, is that the right one? Would I guess I would steal the lasagna?
I guess, yeah.
It's like, what?
That was like a one-liner bit. I didn't want to continue that one. Like,
yeah. She doesn't want to end the friendship because she says she'll be outside the core group of enthusiasts at the activities that they've set up. My position is that my wife is acting inappropriately and disregarding my feelings by ignoring the boundary. I believe my wife loves me, but I also think she has a crush on this guy and is kind of acting on it and downplaying it. Am I overreacting? Am I being unreasonable? What should I do? There's an update.
John, we're going to get back to the story, but I got to tell you, I've been loving these pearls that I got in Colombia.
You are a delicious beaded man now.
I do feel more confident at the very least, but I think these pearls pale in the amount of confidence an OK Storytime membership can get you.
That's right. You get 60 plus hours a month of exclusive live stream content. That's advice that'll make you the best version of yourself.
And it's only $5 a month, so go to the link in our description, youtube.com/OKOP show/join.
Crack open that oyster and get the blues. But let's get back to the story.
Here's the funny part before the rest. I had her read the original post to show how it looked to everyone. Her palms started to get so sweaty, it left a stain on the laptop. She didn't have a lot to say about it except, wow, this is a lot to process. We set up a counseling appointment to work on things. The working solution we had was that she would tell me when they texted each other. My wife was following through with that, and I thanked her every time. I also told her if she slipped up in some way to just acknowledge it, not delete messages and all that. The counseling session was lame. The counselor seemed like he was on autopilot and just wanted to get to the Gottman books. We set up a couple of future appointments. She had a work trip coming up. We went skiing the day before, and I took her to the airport and kissed her goodbye. I texted her from time to time, and she would send pictures of the things she was seeing, but seemed a little unresponsive. I figured she was just busy with everything going on, or maybe she's busy with Lasagna Boy. She never called me or our daughter. She would say she was taking a bath at the end of the night. I picked her up from the airport and brought her home, and she seemed distant. I had to ask for a hug. She went skiing the next day. So things were feeling weird, and I checked the phone bill, and lo and behold, she called Josh for an hour one night, and then he called her 2 other nights for a couple of hours. I checked her Facebook. The messages from her friends were talking about how he tried to kiss her at some point, but they hadn't cut him out of the group in any way. Also, one of her friends told her to delete messages and call logs before coming home as I might check them. Ugh, these are all garbage people. Yeah, gross. Gross, gross. Just a bunch of dirty, stinky banana peel people. I put her stuff in garbage bags and told her off when she got home. I told her she was a cheater, and the guy was a cheater, and that they deserved each other. She didn't have much to say because she couldn't even come up with a bad lie. Filled her car up and left. I'm astonished at how morally bankrupt she is, and her friends are as well. I've met these people. They know who I am and that I'm a decent guy. I just can't imagine encouraging someone to hide immoral behavior. Truly. I asked her from the start of this mess if she wanted to exit the relationship, and she said she wanted to work things out. She saw how much pain it was causing me, and she kept doing it. You think you know people. I believe she was playing me and the guy off of each other, hinting to him that our relationship wasn't solid and maybe someday they could be a couple, while also trying to reconcile with me. She is a narcissist, and this was feeding her ego. And by the way, you can feed our ego by listening to full episodes of stories like this, although we're not narcissists. All you have to do is go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts from and search OK Storytime. And you can have the time of your life listening to all the good advice in the world given goofily. And we do have a little bit of the story left. Honestly, I mean, are you on team? I mean, I'm on team divorce.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's like they've been together for 20 years. And I know that changes your relationship, and like, you know, obviously you're like more committed and stuff, but like, I don't know, I've just heard that like marriage is just like different in how you approach problems like this. Like, you're a little more, you've been together for so much longer, you're a little more committed to each other, so like it's possible for some of these things to be like overlooked again, or, you know, not overlooked, but just like worked through, I guess. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like they're gonna come to a solution this way, you know, like it just doesn't, because he might not be the only one. Like, this could be, yeah, it was 10 years ago, the last one that we knew about, but maybe there was other stuff since then.
Yeah.
And this is the one time that he found out.
That's the problem, is it calls things like this, call the entire relationship into question. It makes it like, how long have you been doing this? And then you go, oh, but has it never, this is the first time. And it's like, well, guess what? I can't trust you or believe you anymore because you've just been lying to me behind my back. Let's finish this story. The short term because I'm stressed and it's hurting my ability to sleep. Sorry if some of this doesn't make sense. I know I'll be better off in the long run, but it does right now, and that's true. It's pretty lame that she gets to shack up with this dirtbag, and I probably won't feel like dating for years. Anyway, once a cheater, always a cheater. Trust your gut. I should have told her to F off a long time ago. Hope I don't get destroyed in the divorce. And that is the end of that story.
Wow.
I have a feeling unless you're in like one of those countries that I guess just doesn't see cheating as a impacting force in a divorce, like
yeah. Or it makes divorce very difficult or something like that.
you should probably get favorable treatment, I would hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. But OP, you are going to be better off in the long run. You
Yeah.
are going to be better off in the long run. That does bring us to the end of that story and
Wow.
the end of this episode.
Wow.
So if you love us, make sure you subscribe
We love you.
and see you tomorrow.